All right, so thanks for coming. I'm Nicole Carter. I'm halftime digital curriculum and halftime secondary language arts TOSA. And okay, so here's my thought process. I wanted to make sure that we understood the difference between when we use Parent Square and when we use Seesaw and Canvas. So anything academic where you would provide feedback to students and have academic evidence should be going in Seesaw and Canvas. Anything else where you're talking about back to school night, where you're talking about field trips, where you're talking about any of your pedagogy, something coming up in class that you think teachers need to know, that's going to go in a newsletter home, and we're directing people to use Parent Square at that point. I am a big proponent of Canva and think that it's a great way for you to continue to like up your graphic design game and engage your community, whether that's your students in your classroom or your parents at home. And so kind of having a conversation about how to use Canva to help with that. But again, thinking about Parent Square, there were some things that I kind of dove into after that. So thinking about translation and the process of translation for staff that's or for your community, your parents. If you know that you have quite a large community at home that speaks like Spanish, for example, you can use Google Translate and translate any static images that you might create in Canva and use a Spanish translation. And then that way, when you send something home on Parent Square and a parent clicks the Spanish button, for example, your static images will transfer and be the Spanish version. That's an extra step that you have to do. Otherwise, anything that you create in Canva that you're saving statically, meaning it's an image or something, then that will not translate for your parents at home. So it's just, I want us to be aware of it and be thinking about it. But I do think adding that little bit of Canva pizzazz and imagery can really help with whatever you sent home. So I wanted to jump into, and I did also provide you guys with some examples and some additional information on Parent Square if you haven't really dove into it. We don't have any of our district PD recorded for some reason. We've provided a ton of PD on Parent Square, but for some reason, none of it's been recorded, which isn't really helpful, I don't think, when you're trying to find time to learn something new. But this is an example of what I meant by a static image. So this was created by Kara Young, one of the people that we have here in community involvement. And she sends out a lot of our district emails through Parent Square. And one thing that I noticed was that when I went in and looked at this specific post on Parent Square in English and then switched over to Spanish, that the static image that she did make in Canva also went into Spanish. And so I asked her, how did you do that? And that was the way that she did it, was that she used Google Translate and translated the information. Anything that goes out in Parent Square does in fact have kind of a thing that goes at the bottom that says that we're using Google Translate, and it might not be the perfect translation. So if you do use Google Translate to create your images in Canva, just know that that automatically goes out on your posts and is kind of helpful. Another option that you have within Parent Square that's not necessarily a part of Canva is the ability to use what they have, like they call them design blocks, and they also have custom newsletter templates that I think can in fact like, create something that looks really nice and again is engaging for your community. I, for instance, am a parent of a student at Southridge, and so I get Nisolanix, the quill is what he calls it. Someone made that actual template and saved it in Parent Square, so all they have to do is go in and fill in the specific pieces. Now, one thing he's not necessarily doing is changing the information on the static. So like the banner at the top that says Southridge High School, they haven't made a Spanish translation to that. So when you click and go into the Spanish translation, that stuff doesn't change at all. So again, it's just something for you to be paying attention to as an option. So I did give you resources to kind of dive deeper in both Canva and Parent Square. I had not necessarily taken any trainings on Parent Square in the district. So like I said, I just went down this huge rabbit hole of trying to figure stuff out on my own. One thing that I did unfortunately find out is that teachers don't have the ability to create an actual template for a newsletter. There's some that are already pre-created, but if you wanted to go in and create a banner and create different things in Canva and save it, we're going to have to figure out a workaround for that because the average teacher doesn't have access to that, which is kind of a bummer. I've been trying to talk to IT about that and figure out why that's the case. And I don't quite have the answer for what the workaround is. But for now, there's at least 3 or 4 templates that you have in Parrot Square that you can utilize without having to make your own. So I also gave you access to the Canva Design School options. There's a ton of tutorials that they have specific for teaching or for teachers. And then there's a whole bunch of tutorials that they have that are geared towards the audience being students. So if you have your students doing something in Canva, those can be really helpful. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, I think, oops, I don't want that to go. I'm going to just go ahead and go into Canva, and I think I might open this up to you, Autumn, to like kind of talk about where you want me to go and answer questions. If it's just simply like going into a template and creating something and just kind of showing you how I do that, I can do that. Or if you want me to do something specific.
I don't really know what I'm doing. I build everything in Google Slides. I just change it to like more of like an 8.5 by 11. And that's just what I'm comfortable with. And I don't really know, like it got really overwhelming because I'm not familiar with any of the stuff. And
okay. Are you wanting to use, how do you see yourself using it? Like I go in and create, in here, I create buttons a lot for inside Canva. Sometimes I'll use some of their design features and move them over to a Google Doc. Sometimes I just will create like a blank thing so that I can grab the clip art because I don't have access to really good clip art in my Google Slides. Right. So that's some of the things that I'm definitely using it for. Sometimes I just need like an image that I'm putting in like a newsletter kind of a thing. So I use Canva for all of those reasons. So, you can search through their templates or you can just create on the fly.
Where do you want me to? All of what you're using it for is what I would be using it for. Like in my PowerPoint or my slide decks, when I'm teaching, it's like just to have them a little bit more interesting. I can see you can just layer up and you get so many cool graphics and whatnot, but my brain can't wrap around what's available to me.
Right. So I think, when I go into create things, I usually start from a template for Canva actually. But you can just create, like you said, you're used to like an 8 by 11. So you can hit the create a design and just go in and say, I want to create an 8 by 11, whatever. Or you can go through and start looking at their templates. I usually will end up picking something. But let's just say I want to do an 8 by 11. What? 8 and 11. Okay, so automatically it pops you over on the left-hand side into available templates because I made it 8 by 11 and not 11 by 8. And it's thinking that I might want to do a newsletter or a brochure or something like that. So it's giving me a whole bunch of options right away. Sometimes I like to use their templates to grab it. Like I like the feel of it and I like the different elements that they've added to it. And so, I might like use one of these templates and then just like duplicate and start taking stuff away so that I have like a clean background, or I'll copy and move it into a new page.
Why do you duplicate it? You said you duplicate it and then take stuff away.
Yeah, because like what if I'm looking at this and I'm like, I really like this white background with the torn edge or something. But maybe I just want that. I don't know. Sometimes I like to leave the original so that I have all of the original elements that like drew me to it in the first place as just the one spot. And then in the other pages, I'll start taking things away or isolating the one thing that I want. But I can always come back up here and copy and paste into another page. So I don't know. I kind of leave it there as just like the inspo, I guess.
Totally makes sense. I 100% agree.
Yeah. And then, if you just create or hit this add a page button, it's going to, come out with like a page. Like obviously the original had this like pink background. So you can change that at any time just by selecting the page and then going up here in the top right hand corner and picking a different color. They will sometimes, if you have like an image on there, like let's say I pick like this image, I'm just hitting Command C and Command P and pasting it down here.
Okay.
You'll see that this image is selected, and right up here, this is an image that I can actually change the colors on. Some images you can change colors, and some images they don't let you. So that is something to kind of think about. All of these so far that I've hit allow you to change. This one doesn't. Do you see how that was different? So up here, I selected this image and it's not giving me a color option.
Okay.
This one isn't either, but these ones do. So that's kind of a unique thing to know that you do have that ability. So, anyways, I select this image, or I'm on this page and I want this page to like match the icon, maybe, or something. I don't know. It grabs the images and the colors, and like, it's saying like, according to what you have on this page right now, you're using all of these colors. So it like helps keep you in the same kind of color palette as you continue to go.
That's really cool.
Which is cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now elements is what they call like all of their stuff that you can add. So you can keyword search anything, but then they have obviously ways that you can filter stuff down. So like I just recently wanted a rectangle. And so that's just like, that's simple shapes that you can add and change colors, change size. But you can also say, I only want graphics, or I want a rectangle in a photo. I don't know, but you can actually filter what you're looking for. They also have videos and they have audio as well. So you can add all of that to anything that you're creating.
Okay.
You can add images. And that's one thing to think about. I was like, why am I telling you that? Oh, okay, here's why. So like, this is a picture of my journal, for example. And you can use, when you go up here to edit image, they have a background remover that's actually really good. And so I find myself, I used to go to a random website to remove the background on different things, but this is actually a really, really good one. It might take a little while as we're waiting for it here, but it also has the ability to like restore. So if it takes away something that you don't want to be removed, you can add it back. So if I click restore and go back and say, oh, I actually did want this bookmark, I can like add it back in, and you have the ability to change like the brush size to redo it. So anyways, that background image editor is like actually really cool. So that's from the upload section.
Okay.
You also can add in text and photos and audio. There's some things I wanted to show you. Do you feel good so far of what I've shown you?
Yeah.
Okay. You can also animate almost anything that's in here with, just like basic, what you would animate in Google Slides or PowerPoint or whatever. You also can animate text elements as well. So I don't know, I have a typewriter one, for example. So you can add, that kind of stuff to it. If I go back, so there's lots of things to play around with. You most of the time just have this like navigation bar here and navigation stuff up here. Another thing that could be helpful to know is the position of items. So to be able to send it to the front or to the back, which just changes how you see it in the layout of all the things that you have going.
It's just you and
on
me
the
now,
screen.
Huh?
It's what?
It's just you and me now.
Oh, okay. Well, this was geared towards you anyways, right? So, so again, this is why I kind of like the templates though, because it does show you like,
I would agree, because I would never think like to find a bunch of little square dots. Like, it looks really nice. So I understand completely now that you say it that way. It's like, it makes more sense.
And they have like, they also have, sometimes it's hard to find. They used to have it up here in education, but, when you're wanting to, I want to just go to templates. How do I get to templates? Hold on a second. I just want to go into education. Is it under templates or something? No? Here, this might be where I want to go. No. If I just click on education, does it take me somewhere? Teachers and schools. I swear there's something I'm looking for specifically. Just give me a second.
You get plenty of time. I'm done for the day. Like, well, I'm not done, but like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm in, here we go. Okay, so here's how I got there. I was in home, and then I clicked on templates. So underneath templates, they give you the ability to search by subject area. So, I mean, if you're an English teacher, you can just go into English. If you're a math teacher, you can go into math stuff. But they also have these super cool decor kits that they came out with last year. And they're kind of now like hiding them a little bit. But I think these are so cool because it could help you stay like within a brand for like the whole year if you wanted to. Again, if you liked it, right? But let's say we like these succulents. If I click, I use these little filters up here at the top, and I clicked on succulents and cactus templates. These are all classroom-based templates with that same theme. So it's like labels, it's bunting, it's posters for your classroom, it's page borders that you could take. You could literally take this and put it as a background image in like a Google Doc or something and use it to type over the top of. It has labels for stuff, tray labels. It has backgrounds for, meetings or something. I don't know, like a lesson plan and the same thing. I just really like that they've like selected all of these things that are specific for educators and teaching and put it in these like thematic collections. So I mean, you
it
could
doesn't
peruse
feel
that.
boring, like doing the same thing that you unpick. Like they change it up a little bit for you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. But like, I mean, even right here. So like if you're using Google Classroom or you're using Canvas, here's a banner. This is perfect. Like I make Canvas banners all the time. So I didn't even know that they have this. So I love this right away. This is awesome because I would just open up a template of this and just use this for an entire course to create all the banners at the top of every page and assignment or whatever that I might need. And they've got more results over to the side too, that are in the same like size, which is
still banners,
amazing.
But just different.
Yeah. So that's one area that I really like. And you'll notice that too, when I clicked on it, then it's like, it's showing you different options within that, like more like this. And then all I had to do was customize this template. And then I got into the like nitty gritty of making something. There's some cool things that Canva presentations do that I will show you. I showed it to my daughter the other day and she's like, what? That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I don't know that I would switch from using Google Slides into using these. But I do think that it's kind of cool that they have them. So if I go into, am I not in presentation mode? What am I? This is not a slide deck. Hold on a second. I need a presentation. Okay. Nope. Sorry. So notice how that one said view only. So that means that I maybe created it on a different account and it's shared with me that I don't have edit access. So this one I just was working with today. So I'm gonna hit the present thing, and I just want to present from standard. And I have these all written out somewhere. So we'll see how many I actually remember. And hopefully I'm going to turn my sound down so it's not too loud for you. But okay, so I'm in a presentation. I'm in present mode. And if I just hit the word or the letter C, so I get confetti.
Oh, I've heard this.
If I hit the letter D, I get a drum roll.
Yeah, I just heard this.
Yeah. M is a mic drop.
Is it literally just the letter? Like you don't have to hit like command or anything?
Right. No, I'm just hitting the letter. I'm trying to remember. O is bubbles.
Yeah, is there a cheat sheet for all your letters? Like
I used to have it written down. Let me see. I mean, I'm sure I read it somewhere. It might be in a different account. See, I like Canva so much. I used to have it, like I personally had it. So sometimes I make things in the wrong account. And this is where I had my notes. So let's just see where. There. Okay. So yeah, you have the ability to get into the notes on things. Here we go. U for curtain call, C for confetti, D for drum roll. The quiet one is good. Blur is good. Oh, the one I love the most is this numbers one. You just hit the number 1 and automatically a 1-minute timer starts. Let's see that.
Like, oh my gosh.
Isn't that neat? I mean, just those features would be something that would drive me to maybe use it.
Yeah.
So
if you build something like this that is not just like a poster, like something that has animations or a timer, like how do you put it into other things? Like,
sure.
Like my specific would be like iMovie.
You want to put it in iMovie?
Well, yeah, because like if I do a lesson and I'm, editing through iMovie and I need to also have video of like me doing something, but I want this to be in the first half of it. How?
Like, are you saying like doing like a screencast? For like you usually would have like a Google slide going and you're talking and you're doing a screencast.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I've been doing. Like in general, it's like I'll kind of put the lesson ahead of it and I'll do a screencast and then I'll drop that into iMovie and then continue with like the demonstration.
Yeah. So it'd be the same thing. I would think it'd be exactly the same thing as you would do with a Google slide. So you'd build it here as a Google slide or as a slide show, and you'd go into like present mode. And then however you're doing your screencast, it's just a screencast over the top of it, just like you would do for Google Slides.
Okay. So then what if I wanted to like use it in Google? I'm trying to figure out my question as I'm saying it. So I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I usually put up a slide in the beginning of every class so that, they see what's going on. They know what to like get started on. So then maybe I just wouldn't use Google Slides. It's like you're using Canva.
Yeah. And in fact, they have that in their templates. So like, I don't know, maybe a morning agenda or something, agenda. Yeah. So they have that as a template already.
Okay. So then I do like a running, like I have one slide deck that I just keep adding to every day.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. Like you just then
it's exactly the same thing. Yeah. It's exactly the same thing. It's still a presentation, right? So you just would add another slide. I'm using this template. So it's showing me recently use this template. So you just would add it in.
Okay. So then,
and it would just be continuous running pages all the way down here at the bottom. Just, so like Google Slides has them on the left-hand side. They're just down here at the bottom.
But how do you change your template? Like if I wanted to stick with the succulents, like we were doing before, but I don't want like this version, I want it to look different. And I don't really want to build it. I just want like options. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, no, it makes sense. So for some reason, it seems like this particular template for this succulent one doesn't have more options or layouts, but this one does. So some of them have more.
Which is weird because you just showed like a ton of them from succulents. So it's like, why would they?
Well, I think this one is more like, this is more like they made it specifically just for an agenda. It's not necessarily a presentation. So I don't know if I went into templates and I did succulents, if I would get more of that same theme. I don't really. Yeah, but see how it says just daily agenda slide versus like a presentation. So like this one has 26 different templates because it's like a presentation build out. So, I mean, you could, one thing you could do is you could open a different version of the succulents from that one, the kit thing that we saw. And you could pull different elements in from that, just copying and pasting. Even if you're copying and pasting from a different tab, you can still do that. And I mean, you can, like if you're like, well, I only need like one box, you can always delete.
Yeah.
You can delete, or you could, like I'm selecting all of these to delete. And then like, I could just say, I want this box bigger, you know? I mean, you have lots of options.
Okay. So where are all my options? Like if you wanted to change the font on that, like where is.
So you're selecting the font and then up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, okay. So everything I'm looking at, like your top little screen, like the box, I want to put like a border around it.
This one?
Yeah.
This box?
Sure.
Yeah, you could maybe do, I mean, this one doesn't, I mean, in terms of like where it's giving me options, it looks like it maybe has like, I don't really know why it says it has that many colors involved, which is kind of weird. Do you see how up here it's saying I don't really know why it's doing that. But what you could do is do like rectangle. So it's not really as easy maybe to do like a simple border. Instead, what you would have to do is maybe do like another shape.
And then drop it behind.
And then drop it behind, yeah.
Yeah, it's the converting over from, what I know and finding the tricks.
Yeah, exactly. Just playing with it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I really like it, and I find that I come to it again and again. But I still will I still will like grab stuff from Canva. Like if I liked this background, but I wanted all of the features that I am used to using in Google Slides, then one thing I might do is like delete all of this stuff, and then just grab this like this background stuff. I might
just copy it and drop it in.
I would either do like a screen capture picture, or I would download it as an image and then open up a Google slide and put this as my background. I do that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But again, I also will come back in and grab. Let me switch back to my Beaverton one here. I often have these like random, like this one or even this one, where I'm just literally looking for clip art images that I can bring over into a Google slide that I'm using. And one of the things to remember with this is you can definitely just do a screenshot of this, or if you say you want to download, so I'm going to share and then I'm hitting download, and then I'm going to go to PNG, and then I can do the transparent background.
Nice.
Right. And then I don't get that white stuff coming back on the back end, and I can add it into an over the top of colored slides or whatever in Google.
All right.
So that's an important part to remember.
All right.
So I grab stuff all the time. In fact, that's what these slides were from. Was I actually was making something in Google, and I was grabbing all of this to move over to a Google slide. And like this, all of these little doodles and things, I loved all of these. And so I put them on this image and then downloaded it just like I showed you as a PNG with a transparent background and moved it into Google Slides. So I had all these fun doodles.
And how did you find the doodles? Like you were just messing around?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I just went into Elements, and I think I just said hand drawn, maybe doodles. And then, as you start picking things, it will give you recommendations right here.
I see.
Which is kind of great. So you can just say see all, and then it just again starts you down a rabbit hole of images, like-minded images, which is really great.
That is good.
Yeah. And then when I grab it and I move this into Google, then it becomes like I will crop inside Google to remove the rest of them, right? And solidify, if I just wanted this fun little guy, then I would just crop in on that, but I still would have access to all the rest of them.
And the benefit of downloading is that you can do the PNG versus if you screenshot it, like
then it's white background.
End up with like you can crop it, but you still end up with the background. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for you, but it's like for at the end, because it doesn't really deal with Canva. So I don't know like how much more you have to share with me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just say, this again was coming from a place of talking about newsletters. So
Yeah.
just knowing that you have those options in here. But again, if you were to create anything on here and then send it out through Parent Square, if it's static, if you're saving it as like a PDF or you're saving it as an image, then if you need translation services for any of your parents, then those things aren't going to come through.
I'm sorry. So I actually question, what is static? Like if you're saying
like something that doesn't change, like it's just an image, so it's not going to, the translation service, the font on it won't change.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm saying is if you were to use Canva at all into Parent Square, I would say use banners or singular images, and then do the bulk of your information in text in Parent Square as typing text so that the translation happens.
Okay.
And then if you know that you have, most of your parents at home that might be speaking a different language, if you know that they're Spanish, then you can do that that option that I showed before.
Nice.
Where you make one image in English and one image in Spanish. And there's a resource that I gave you as well that talks about how to do that process. Okay. And it's just as simple, like as you start typing it out in Parent Square, you toggle between the English and the Spanish version, and you can remove the English image and add the Spanish image on the Spanish toggle. And then it works. And so, I mean, I know that when I saw that happen with that one silly coffee image, I'll just go back to it. I was like, what? It seemed magical. Like, how did that happen? Because it should have stayed the same. And so I just think that that's a really cool feature that we should be thinking about. But I think that's kind of it. So I'll stop the recording and then you can go ahead and ask me whatever question you want to.